Hello, Max.
Hey, how are you? You
Good.
okay?
Good. How are you feeling?
Good.
So, my name is Marcela, and I'm a Pilates instructor. And today we do have, 11th Sunday Live, connecting to our recent Nobu campaign, Everybody is a Pilates Body. And today we do have a Max, sorry.
Max.
Who you are, how long have you been teaching Pilates?
I had some major surgery in my shoulder. It was 5 years after. I needed somebody to kind of help me with it. I think it was in 2007 I came up to London and I met Holly, who owns PI Studios. And from there, I just kept on coming up every now and again, doing some sessions. I ended up training with Holly.
What is your experience with term Pilates body?
You guys have coined it anyway. Any body is a Pilates body. Someone comes to you that is very injured, or they have certain conditions or whatever. After a certain amount of time, if they are not in pain, if they feel better in themselves, if they feel different, and if they can see they've worked their arms and they're stronger in their glutes or their legs, that is a new body for them.
Yes. It's your personal reason why you train Pilates.
Feel better makes me feel stronger. The thing I like to do is you got to do the stuff that you're good at and the stuff that makes you like your soul food for your body. But the interesting thing is when you do stuff that you are not good at, and those are the challenging things, the things that you want to keep working towards.
What advice would you give to a new instructor?
Train.
Like
Everything is about
Pilates, right?
There are no shortcuts in any of it. For me, like the first bit of advice is just keep training. Practice teaching, especially, new teachers, they're on their training program. And then even after they finish the training program, that is actually the start of them learning.
Oh, 100%.
Because they don't really know the exercises yet, perhaps. Because some of those, like I said, there are no shortcuts. Some of them take a long time.
Yeah, because during your teacher training program, you in very safe space, no? When you practice teach on other students and other instructors, you in very safe space in terms of teaching, and your basically experience starts from the moment you start teaching your real client, right? The one totally. You don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just seeing if your cues are working, if position of the feet are correct.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, so that is again, that is all about experience. I mean, you see it sometimes, either apprentices or new teachers, and they keep hammering perhaps a same cue to a client, and perhaps they're not understanding it, or they're giving them too many cues. So, because you give a new client a cue, and then if you give them another one, that first cue might go out the window, and then they start thinking about that one. So it's learning that kind of we move people, but we do have to move them somewhat slowly until I don't mean slowly, but how you move them on with cues, instructions, and sometimes we want to say everything. We want to give every little cue for every exercise. So it's you just
less is more, right?
Totally. Yeah. Exactly.
I think less cues and maybe more observation of the body, how the body reacted to a cue, right?
I had a really good teacher from my story from my teacher, and when he was I think it was his first session with Romana, and he was doing the reformer, and she was just walking around the reformer, not saying a word. And then I think he said, 3/4 of the way, she kind of bent down to him and said, "Are you expecting me to say anything, my dear?" So she was just watching him, seeing how he moved.
Because she was just observing the body, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then probably that was enough to make you just be on.
Yeah. I think for the new instructors, just same as we allowing our clients to be a beginner body, we don't expect them to be perfect in Pilates.
No.
So I would say don't allow yourself to be beginner instructor.
Yeah, I think that's you said something kind of really important then, that people want to get people to move perfectly, and you won't be able to do that at first. You just, as long as you teach the movement correct, that's fine. What you see in front of you going on might not be perfect, but it'll only change through movement.
Oh, 100%. Like, but then like you make your decision of, if you see your client not moving perfectly, right? Like you then make a decision like what other exercise I can give them later on in the session.
Yeah.
So then they can improve with XYZ exercise, right?
Which is why things like high chair and stuff like that is really important in the first, first few sessions or few months of a new client, because it builds strength, and then they'll be able to do stretches really well, long stretch really well, up stretch later really well, because that gives the foundations of, lower body
connection. Yes. Okay. Next questions from like men perspective, right? What are the biggest misconceptions?
From a man?
Yes.
Okay.
Just because a lot of I do find like women are more like they're more likely to try Pilates, just because again social media.
This came up in an interview in the Times very recently.
I didn't read that.
No.
You need to send me this. You need to, just after the live, you can send it to me.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the question?
What are the biggest misconceptions you think men have about Pilates? From your
I think
experience, yes.
I mean, normally when you go to a class or a guy goes to a class, it's predominantly women. Okay. I remember my first, when I started my training, my teacher had to go away, so I went to another teacher. And when I walked into the studio, which was kind of in a house, I went to get changed. I heard them say, "There's a man here," as if like men don't do Pilates. And it was a bit like, oh, cool. But that actually challenged me. I was like, cool, I'm just going in there.
How long ago was that?
Oh, this is 20 years ago.
Okay, yeah. So I guess like now, yes, we start seeing more men coming into Pilates room, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was invented by
a man. But again, like we discussed that before, like it's for us as a teachers to again educate clients as well, right?
Yeah, totally.
Because like some people, they don't even know who Joseph Pilates is. Like they don't know Pilates from the surname of the of Joseph. Interesting you said, like because they see the room full of women. Like I don't have that when I go like boxing class or something like that, or like a weight lifting class. Like I wouldn't, even if I was the only woman in a room, like I wouldn't feel intimidated.
No. Okay. But then I think then it goes back to perhaps, like you said, kind of social media and everything. And for over the years, let's say, right, from 1967, when Joe passed away, the torch was carried by women. Right? There were a few guys that Joe taught that kind of did their stuff, perhaps. But let's say Romana, Eve, Kathy, Lolita, Mary Bowen, they all were the ones that really spread everything, right? Which is why we have lots of different Pilates now.
Yes.
Romana made Pilates beautiful, and let's say the classical was her interpretation of it, but she was a dancer, so she added a lot of
this stuff,
dance inspired, and the same with Kathy and Eve and Lolita, they all did their own little kind of thing, and you know, I suppose the men just dropped away. I mean, there were still men going, but you know, I think in Joe's time, he taught a lot of guys, which you see that from the old pictures and
old
footage.
pictures, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
if
it's just about time and where the routes it went. The guys started dropping off.
Yeah. So what's your client ratio? Actually, men.
Okay, so
male to female, yes.
Okay. I work in two places, PI Studios and a place called Kicks, which is a private members club. At Kicks, I'm pretty much 50-50, which is really cool. There are a lot of men that go to PI. I don't particularly teach many, but I do have a few. But there are a lot of guys that come into PI. So
yeah, okay. Have you seen like a shift in a couple of years that like men are more attracted now to Pilates?
Okay, I suppose, yeah, I have really. I mean, where I work in Chelsea, definitely I didn't have many men there, but in the last few years, yeah, like I said, I'm pretty much 50-50.
50-50. Like it's interesting, I guess, like depending what city you teach or like which country you teach, but like in London, like it just depends on the location as well, right?
Yeah,
depending on the location where you teach.
Yeah. Sorry, say
because I really
again.
It's like in London, like it depends which location you teach. So like let's say like I was teaching in St. James's or like in a city, like I used to have more like male clients in my math classes compared to Kensington. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I work in Chelsea, and there, yeah, that's like I said, it's a 50-50 split easily. Yeah.
50-50.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is cool. I like
it. I mean, I love seeing more men trying Pilates.
Yeah.
Yes, my partner started to do Pilates now, 3 times a week, Matt. So yes, anything you would like to add on?
No.
Do we have? Let me see. Maybe we have some questions from the chat, from the comments. Someone, Lola Pilares asked, curious to know what the biggest moments was for Max when he started his classical training that he didn't get from his contemporary training.
I wanted structure, and I liked the fact. Well, I kind of saw it very early on when I was doing my contemporary training, because I bought Return to Life, and I was like, oh, okay, that's an order. Those exercises are different. And then there was an order of the Reformer, and that was one of my biggest things that I wanted, because then you have this kind of, say, a way to build someone, rather than like in the contemporary, it's kind of like you're picking exercises out of the iCloud.
Yes.
To go, okay, this is our workout today, and it's always
I think it's more logical, like in a way, like you kind of train the body as a unit.
To the logic on those orders.
Yeah. So like you train the body as a unit in classical, right?
Yeah.
Rather than like, okay, we do like 5 exercises on the lower body and then 5 exercises on the upper body. I think it's more like
work the body as a whole.
Yeah, as a whole, because like everything is, if you look at the anatomy, fascia, everything, muscles, like everything is connected together.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of in a way, I think in every session you have to bend them, you have to twist them, you have to stretch their sides, you have to lift them or extend them, depending, obviously, you know,
of the client body.
That's a kind of a bit of a rule, I think. But you can break it sometimes.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt, for joining.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all your knowledge.
Thank you.
Yes, and enjoy the rest of your.
I will do. I can
it's
hear
like
my son
6:30
just
for
come
you.
back, so he might invade.
Oh, your little one?
Yeah.
It's his bedtime routine, right?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
I will see you in the summer.
See you in the summer for sure. Thanks for joining.
All right. Bye.
Bye.